to the next level.
Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. This is Coach Tiffany Parra, Editor-in-Chief of Phoenix Fitness Fanatics magazine, elevating your mind, body, and spirit. We are taking center stage on the Own It magazine and publishing platform today with one of our contributing writers. She's also the September cover girl. We're going to go ahead and bring her on in, and we're going to get into an amazing conversation. Hello. What's going on, Eva?
September's cover girl sounds so salacious.
I just love it. I cannot wait for everyone to see it. And oh my gosh, it's just magnificent. So this is Eva, y'all. I'm going to go ahead and let her share who she is. And she's got some really amazing events coming up. And in our last segment, sometimes we run into a little technical difficulty. We ran into that and she didn't get a chance to share. So we're going to start this segment today with some of the amazing events that Eva has got going on. So take the floor, Eva.
Sure. So my name is Eva Vennari. I'm founder of the Elevate Institute based out of Los Angeles, but you kind of like, where's Waldo? You never really know where I am in the world most of the time because I love to travel and I have client base everywhere. So I help people overcome their struggle, whatever that thing that's in the way, health-wise, emotional-wise, relationship, and even spiritual. And so my events reflect that. And at the end of this month, this is September, I have a class that's very popular. It's called Defense Against the Dark Arts for Real. And you'll find it on the Eventbrite listed as open to everybody in the United States. And then I have at the end of next year, or 1 year away, is August. I'm taking 17 people on an Alaskan cruise for a VIP experience. And these are spiritual healings that empower you.
Oh, that's so awesome. So awesome. So look, y'all got some amazing events coming up. Alaska, I heard it's beautiful. I'm going to try to get in the room. I got a few other things on my calendar, but I'm definitely going to try. And also, I'm telling you guys, look, she just told you she can help tap into some of those things. There's a lot of stuff out there that we have no idea about. And this woman right here can just really help you to transform and get through that. So if you're feeling like something's just kind of, heavy on you, or, you're feeling like you just cannot just, get to that next level, right? You just got something blocking you. Definitely tap into Eva because she can really help you to figure out what it is that's just kind of holding you back there and kind of cut that cord. So thank you so much for joining me today, Eva. So let's talk. So in recent interview, you were asked to define love, and it helped you to come up with an amazing article that everyone can read in our September magazine, and it's Love is a Need. And that is so, so true. So let's talk about that a little bit. Just share with the audience just a little bit about, kind of your response on just the definition of love.
Yeah, it was the last question she asked me, and we had literally 15 seconds, and that's not enough time to get into that. But yeah, love is a need, and it is not, that's where I like to start, is where things are not. It is not that mystical, ever elusive feeling that we go after that speaks to chemistry between two people. Love is a need that we apply to ourselves.
Yeah. I don't think that people realize that. Like you just said, for other people, right? It's, I know when you're growing up and the hormones are going, it means a whole different thing, right? Oh, did I freeze? Am I having technical difficulty here? All right, awesome. Look, I was having technical difficulty on my side because you just disappeared for a second. So, but yeah, it means something totally different, when you're growing up. But it is totally about you. And it is how you feel about yourself and just all those different things. So let's talk about, some of the common things that, people do that are so normalized that it's like, they don't even, it's toxic. And they're just doing it over and over again. And there's like, the love is gone. So let's talk about some of those things.
Yeah. So love as a need is from a place of really recognizing how we apply our day-to-day decisions. And the biggest one that comes up often is the text to me when you get home. And I've lost Tiffany, and it says we're still recording, so I don't know if we are or we aren't. Okay. You're back.
We're having some technical difficulties when we're trying to talk about love here. So I don't know what's going on, but we're just going to keep on going and remove that one there.
So yeah, I lost you for a second, but I spoke through it just a little bit. And I said the biggest thing that people do now that has become so normal, and it's really a result of having our phones, isn't it? Is when we say text me when you get home. So why is this a problem? I hear the excuse a lot of men will give me, well, if I'm in a relationship, I'm responsible for her safety. This I'm making fun because no, you're not. You're not responsible for her safety when she says goodbye to you. And even if you have an agreement about that, you're overstepping your boundary. Why? She may not be going home.
Right.
He may not be going home. It doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter if it's parents. Doesn't matter if it's children. Children are a little bit different, but yeah, you should know where they are at somebody. There should be an adult, going on. But I'm talking about between adults. I have a really great friend. The first time we went out together for lunch, she goes, "Text me when you get home." And I said, "Don't give me a task."
Right.
As we're saying goodbye here, what would we do if we didn't have phones? If we didn't have cell phones to text? What did we do before?
We just did. We walked home, drove home, did whatever we were going to do. If we were going to stop and get ice cream, we stopped and got ice cream. And you know what I'm saying? If we were going to go to the park or whatever that was, we did it. And then we went home. So you're so absolutely right with that.
And so let's talk about why it's toxic. So the excuse I hear is the one I made fun of. Guys are like, well, I'm responsible for her safety. One, no, you're not. And two, not 100% of the time, but two, your ability to be okay should never be dependent upon me being home. Mm-hmm. That is the definition of codependency, which by definition is toxic.
Right. Yeah.
So
absolutely. There's so many different codependent things that people are doing these days. So we really need to kind of dig into that, and people need to kind of understand exactly what, codependency is, right?
Yeah, it's not cohabitating. It's not being agreeable. It's not, those things can become toxic in nature if you're not being authentic. Mm-hmm. But if you are saying, I need you to do something for me in order for me to feel better about anything, that in and of itself is codependency, and you have some work to do. That's just an information services alert. It's the public service announcement. You need help. That's all that is.
Yeah. And when you're talking about, like the whole love is a need, right? Some people, when they hear that, call me when you get home and things like that, they're thinking that, oh my God, that person loves me so much and they want to just know when I got home. And that's not the case normally, I think we're just now programmed, again, to accept some of these toxic or codependent, situations, which is not loving for yourself or for the other person, really. I mean, yeah. What do you think?
No, and I think to dig in even further on the why love becomes part of the category of needs is to talk first about what are the other three,
Okay.
right? So the first one being that we have a need for environment. We have a need for the earth having its gravity with water and air, right? These are things that we have to have around us to support our body. So that's one. Two is the ability to consume, right? So we have to be able to take in food and water and even what we consume on television or on our phones. And I'm pointing over that way because this is where my phone is sitting.
Yeah.
But it's like where we consume and bring in information, what goes into our minds, what goes into our relationships, everything that we read, all of that. And then it's what we expel. If we do not go to the bathroom for a while, it can kill us.
Yes.
And it's the definition of a need. If we don't have an environment, it'll kill us. If we don't have things to consume, it will kill us. If we don't have an ability to expel, it will kill us. If we do not love ourselves, it will kill us.
Absolutely. Absolutely. No, it definitely will. I mean, and I share it a lot in my own journey, of having to really tap into that unconditional love for myself in order to release, the weight that I was carrying. I mean, I was carrying a lot of physical weight, but I was also carrying a lot of mental and emotional weight. I was carrying a lot of spiritual weight. I mean, there was a lot that was on these shoulders that needed to be released. So tapping into that, because I was not, like, as you said, just that consumption, right? I was consuming fast food, alcohol. I mean, everything that was just not good for me. And that's what got me to, almost 300 pounds. That's what got me with, crazy high, blood sugar and, just everything. I mean, my blood pressure was sky high, right? Because you're not consuming the right thing. So I want to get into, what some of the what are some of the loving boundaries that we can develop for ourselves. And then I also want to talk a little bit about what what some of those habits that we do have that people may not even realize that are unloving habits. So let's talk about just some of those loving boundaries that we can put out there for ourselves.
I think the biggest one is no. Say no. This is the easiest one. If you're unsure if it's a request from a child, and you're like, you know what, I'm not sure yet. Instead of saying that and giving somebody hope, just say no. You can always make them really elated later if you want to. And you know what, I thought a little bit more about it, and this is what I can do. But just because someone asks does not mean you have to say yes. You can put down a no and then back out of it, or to change your mind, or not at all. But to say yes first, and then go, oh well, I really didn't mean it, or I didn't know what was on my calendar, all of that. Just say no, and then go back if you need to.
Right. Yeah.
That's self-loving. That's like, you know what, I'm topped up emotionally, I'm topped up mentally, I'm topped up. That's like saying we're at the restaurant and you're full. You were licking the plate of your dinner because it was so good, and you're up to here with food and still just barely going to fit in your stomach, right? And here comes the waiter. So, would you like dessert? Yeah, sure. Should not be dessert.
You're about to hurt yourself.
Yeah, that's pain, man. You sit at the table and you're going, oh, I don't have room to breathe. Yeah, we know.
Unbuckling the belt, the button, that first button comes out. And that's so miserable though, I mean, saying yes, and then I would rather go back. I love saying no, because I used to be that yes girl. Yes, because I never wanted to piss anybody off. But I noticed saying yes all the time, I was always stressed out. And half the time, the things that I had to do for myself would be pushed to the wayside because I was trying to do things for everybody else. And then I would get depressed because none of my stuff was getting done. So it was like that just snowball effect to, when all I should have just said was no. And if I could have went and just finished my stuff, got to a certain point, and then, where I could breathe, right? And then say, oh, you know what? Maybe I can help them out with that. Or maybe I can't do the whole entire thing, but maybe I can help them in this capacity. Gave myself a minute to think about it, right? And that's essential. You have to do that. I love that you said that. I mean, no, just
this is another evidence of codependency. People will describe their feeling of guilt for wanting to take responsibility of the other person's emotions based on their no. First of all, you're not responsible for other people's emotional state. Right. Secondly, if it's that important and they need help, and you cannot be the only person they are able to ask. There must be other people in their world that they can ask. Like, right. That's just silly. And you're more respected when you put your foot down and you say, you know what, I can't do it right now, or these are my terms for which it can get done. I can do a portion of it, but not all of it. It's like anytime somebody asks you for $100 and say, well, if I pay you $100, then I can't pay for my internet bill, Right. So if I have something left over and I don't have any other bills or anything else, and I have this excess money that I'm not dependent upon, then you can have it. Right. So there's an ability to communicate that, but at the same time, let go of the need to be responsible for other people's emotions, because that's where it comes from.
Right. Yeah. And I think it goes back to like that, when they talk about that cup, right? You have to serve out of that overflow instead of serving out of that full cup, because that full cup is yours. And you have to have that in order to be able to, thrive and not just survive and just kind of be moving through. Right. So I just, man. And seeing, you think sometimes some of those loving boundaries, is taking off into the wilderness and just, shutting it down. I mean, that is one of those, that's a healthy, that is, just turning off the cell phone, turning off the computers, all that stuff. I mean, the no is the most important, but I think getting out and just setting that alone time is just everything as well. I mean, I know for myself, it is everything. Just being able to just get out there and listen to the birds and listen to, the flowers, or not the flowers, the bugs. I mean, I don't like bugs per se on me, but I love listening to them when I'm out in the nature, when I'm out in the woods and stuff. They're all singing and it just sounds amazing. So that's another loving thing that you can do for yourself, getting yourself out in nature, taking yourself out on someone posted the other day about a soul date. Why not?
That's awesome. I like that. Sure.
Right? It's okay to go out by yourself.
Yeah, I don't know when that became demonized. I've been going out by myself. If I didn't go out by myself and take myself out, I mean, men these days don't know how to date. So I would never go anywhere if I waited for somebody to be creative with me. Because if all you can do is, this is a side note, if all you can do is drink and eat, I'm going to be bored. There's got to be other things. Let's go on a soul date. We share the experience together, right? That's different. Yeah.
Absolutely. You got to enjoy it. And again, that's not just about sitting and eating and drinking. Go out and go out to the ocean and put your feet in. And, my husband and I were just there and we're like splashing and just, it's fun, go out and tap into your inner child. That's what people don't do anymore, is tap into that inner child. So we're going to cut to a quick commercial break, and then we're going to come back and we're going to talk a little bit about some of the unloving habits that we have, or that people have, and don't even know it, right? So we'll be right back, everybody. And we are back. This is Phoenix Fitness Fanatics Magazine, elevating your mind, body, and spirit. We have our contributing writer and September cover, Eva Vennari. We are here talking about love, everybody, and love being a need, love for self first being a need, as well. And just some of those, some of those things that we do, some of those codependency things that are out there that are normalized that really shouldn't be. We're going to dig into some of the unloving things that you may do that you're just not even realizing that it is unloving because it is hurting you. So let's talk about that, Eva.
Yeah, I think the number one thing is adults, they think they're adults and therefore they can forget about everything they learned to take care of themselves, like staying up late. Well, I'm an adult, I can stay up late. Well, at what cost?
Right?
At what cost? Yeah. I ask people, what time do you go to bed at night? Oh, 1 o'clock in the morning. Why? What are you doing? But better be fun. That's all I'm saying. So no, we have a body clock, and the clock in the body gives its time based on the GPS of the physical place on planet that is aligned with all of this other woo-woo stuff, like when the sun comes up and when it goes down and when the moon comes up. And these energies our body are tuned to. Why? Because we developed our bodies as a result of being on planet. So we are in tune with that. And so when we decide to go against those natural rhythms, our body is not doing the healing that it's meant to do during those times.
Yeah. See, what is that? That circadian clock? Is that what it's called?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's a 24-hour clock, by the way. It doesn't just happen while you're sleeping. It's all the time.
Yeah. And you made such a good point. You heal when you sleep. So, I mean, when we were little, they would tell us, you got to sleep like, they would say 10 hours, and then you always heard 8 hours of sleep, 8 hours of sleep. That there's a reason behind that. And really, we need more than 8 hours of sleep, everybody. Like I'm nodding out at like 8:30, 9 o'clock most of the time. And then I am up early. But yes, I'm up at usually 5:30, 6 o'clock. But I'm getting that good amount of sleep. And before I used to, when I'd be adulting all the time, trying to hang, I would be going to bed at midnight, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, and I would be so miserable the next day. I mean, even to the point of like my stomach being upset because I just did my body wrong. So you definitely have to have that sleep. Oh man. So another thing is the thing I touched on earlier, like overeating, right? That's something that you do that is unloving to your body. You are supposed to eat, and it's what you eat too, right? Even we were talking about that earlier. There's specific things that I think, society is, we have a lot of trends out there, and I'm not knocking any of them. If you want to be vegetarian, vegan, whatever it is, that, hey, if it works for you, great. But we have been conditioned a certain way through our ancestors where we should have certain things in our bodies. So I think it really is all about just learning, relearning, what we really are supposed to have. And that's another thing that Eva can help you do as well, is to tap into the things that your body needs, that it's missing. So, and I just absolutely love that. So I had to mention that there.
Yeah, both ways, both minerally. What are we not getting from our foods today because they're not minerally sound the way that they were 50 years ago?
Right.
Which is why grandma survived just fine growing up on, the farm food, but we have not. That there's a big difference in our foods, but also spiritually, because the body, whether you want to believe it or not, we inherit certain ways through our ancestors. Certain ways, meaning what our bodies are conditioned to take in. So if your ancestors were meat eaters and they'd be eating potatoes too, then guess what? That's what you're supposed to eat. If your ancestors were vegetarian, then your body is set up for that best. So you can learn this by reading the Akashic records and also doing some mineral balancing work, so that there's ways that we can find out.
See, and it's awesome that you have a way to find out. And that right there, finding out that solution is loving yourself. Okay.
That's right. Yeah, not guessing. Yeah.
Right. So another thing that you had mentioned in your article too, that was unloving is, of driving drunk. Right? That's unloving to you, and it's also unloving to everybody out on the road. because you could kill yourself or kill someone else. You know, you could hurt many in this whole thing. So why take that chance? You know, just stay where you are. You know, sleep it off.
Statistically, I think the person who is drunk is so relaxed that they're able to survive a crash, whereas a person who is not drunk, usually the victim, is killed. And this was a reality of mine. I learned this lesson when I was 13 years old. My uncle, he passed away not of old age or of being reckless himself. He was on the road at the same time as a drunk driver and hit him head on, to the point it destroyed his body. We could not have an open casket.
Oh, wow.
And he was young. He was in his 40s. So this is a personal experience that has galvanized the belief for me. It's unloving.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Just for everyone involved. Absolutely. Now, you had also mentioned like chronic homelessness and unemployment.
Yeah.
You know, being unemployed is unloving. And I mean, people wouldn't think about that, you know, because you do have, coming out of HR, you know, I see a lot of people that are out there in society that are, you know, just kind of just jump in like, then, okay, oh, well, you know what, now I'm going to be unemployed for, you know, 2 weeks and then go back for a week and then, oh, well, you know, and I never understood that, you know, I never understood just kind of, if you're in a toxic place, yes. But if it's actually serving you and you're able to get what you need out of it, I just, yeah.
I don't know. I would question that. Then what are you getting out of it? Because anytime your life's circumstances, which are to provide you some sense of stability, change on that massive level of, do I have a job? Like if you're not an entrepreneur or you're not a 1099 employee that works gig to gig. Mm-hmm. Let's put you over here in a different category because you're hustling. That's different. Right. If you are, you know what, I'm just going to get a job and keep it long enough so that I can get unemployment and then get unemployment and then look for another job. Why? What's your motivation behind living at that very low expectation of yourself? But two, that upheaves all of your own sense of stability, and that creates a interesting. And I don't use the word in a positive way. It creates an interesting vibration in the body of stability. It affects your base chakra, which affects, of course, your money, which that should be a duh statement, right? So what is keeping you from choosing a way forward that works for you and committing to that until things change?
Right.
Not because you're deciding to be the upheaval. And I think this is where people get stuck. They go, well, this is what I've always done, so this is what I'm going to do. Well, why? Don't you want something different or better for yourself?
Right. It's getting out of that comfort zone though, right? Because it's like people get in that little box and they're comfortable there. They've learned how to, you know, kind of play the game in a sense, and they're comfy. So how do you get them out of that? I mean, that's very hard to do, you know? I mean, I love getting out of my comfort zone just because that's what I know is going to get me to that next level. But a lot of people don't understand that.
Yeah, there's a statement that a coach said to me once, Eva, you can't get to there from where you are. You have to change, in other words, what you do and what you say and who you are being to get to the next level. And if you don't want to get to the next level, I'm still asking, why not?
Yeah.
Why not? It's the human experience to be better, because here's the thing. This is what I have learned too. And this is going to get a little bit deep. But the idea is your soul chooses to stay here as long as you expand and grow.
Mm-hmm. Wow. See, that's deep. That's deep. Wow. I don't even know how to respond to that. I'm like, wow.
Yeah, our human, one of our human built-in things, I think, is that desire to always be a little bit better. And that's where competition comes from. And you can take that overboard and competition becomes toxic. You can take well, if I can't win, then I'm not going to bother trying. That's also toxic. So there's all these different places that I think humanity has decided to be out of, like, resignment, or I want power, which is tyranny. So where you can be in the middle. I'm living proof of that. You're living proof of that. There are places where you can be that exemplify human behavior at its finest and its best, and it's elevating, which is why we're all here. We want to elevate life. We don't want to just muddle through it.
That's right. Like, and you know, that's my mission, elevating the mind, body, and spirit, right? Because I have been at that low point, you know, and I like being able to have that vibration of, I call it a vibration of love, really. I mean, some people call it a vibration of gratitude, whatever it is, but when you're at that vibration, you also tend to really attract into other individuals that are there that just can kind of help you to even get to that next. So it's really just kind of, you know, these people have to just kind of get out of your own way, get out of your comfort zone, go get into rooms with people that you never thought you could be in a room with, you know, because that's showing true love for yourself. Because guess what? When you do that, you can only expand. I mean, even just one conversation in that room, you know, I mean, there's only one way up. I mean, you know, so
that's true. Yeah, it becomes painful if you do not expand. So if you're wondering why things are painful, it's because you haven't finished the journey.
Right. Yeah.
If you're depressed, you haven't finished the journey. If you're anxious, you haven't finished the journey. You're in the middle of one. If you didn't know you were on one, guess what? You don't feel okay. You are on a journey.
Absolutely. So one of the big things that, you know, you tend to hear right now, especially, is, you know, tapping into that self-care, right? And I really and truly feel that self-care is self-love, and you have to, you know, you have to tap into that. And I mean, it looks different to so many people, that self-love, or that self-care, excuse me. So what is that like? What's that ultimate? I know you said say no early, but like that ultimate self-care for you, like what does that look like for you?
Yeah, it's expanded version of the say no, but it's also a say yes to myself. And if I have a desire that's been left unmet for too long, or a need that's been unmet for too long, then circumstances in life lets me know. And sometimes that becomes a 2x4, metaphorical 2x4 to the head, and get knocked over. You know, that's what heart attacks are. That's what strokes are. So self-care is not going and getting a pedicure or a manicure. But there is a kernel of truth in that you're saying yes to you for the moment to get things done. Now, if you're on the phone and you're talking to other people and you're distracted and you're not using it as a reflective moment, I don't know that that's self-care, but it's like we want to do things that we know are, one, expansive, caring for ourselves, making positive and good choices. Like sometimes somebody will, I did this, I like to go ballroom dancing, and they had a cake for somebody's birthday, and they put a piece of cake on a plate, and they're like, here you go, would you like a piece of cake? And I'm like, I am not making good choices right now. But at the same moment, I love cake, and I was enjoying the space and the people. And so all of that can be self-loving. It can be self-care. Yeah. So it depends. It's not a very simple answer, is it? Right. And you said it is unique to each individual, what their desires are, what their goals are, what their values are. You put that together and you create a painting, a picture for yourself. Yeah. And be true to you. And that's Shakespeare. Be true to thyself, be true. To thine own self be true. That's the words. But yes, I come back to that often. It's like, really, it's about saying yes to you. Yeah. So that your needs are met first, because it's the airplane rule, isn't it? If you don't focus on yourself, don't help your partner until you've done that. You know, don't help the person next to you until you've taken care of yourself. It's that.
It is. It truly is. Well, I tell you, even like when we get on here, time goes by too quick. I could just be on here all day with you, but you know what? We're going to have to wrap it up. But is there any words of wisdom or words of encouragement that you would like to maybe give our audience today before we close up?
I would say be thirsty to find out for yourself what those desires are. Really do an undertaking of let me sit down with myself and write out a list. What are the things I've always wanted to do that I haven't done yet? Whatever you need to get out of the way and get it done, get it out of the way. If it means hiring me, I'm happy to help you. If it doesn't, I'm not going to be hurt at all. You're just doing what you need to do. So that's it.
Awesome. Well, to get in touch with you, if you want to connect with her, you want to work with her, you can go to her website here, and that is the ElevateInstitute.com. You can hear about all of her different services, learn about her VIP experience. Just again, tap in, y'all, because these are resources. She's a resource here, just like all the other people here on Phoenix Fitness Fanatics Magazine's platform. And we are here to really help you to elevate that mind, body, and spirit, help you to get to that next level of just greatness. Because as Eva said, our soul is here to expand. We are not here to stay stagnant. So get up, get out there, and get to it. We love you so much. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll see you next time. Take care, everybody.